So let's get started on our journey. But before we do, I do want to mention that we'll each do about 5 minutes and then have time hopefully at the end for some Q&A. So if you have questions along the way, put them in there and Abby will share them with us at the end and we'll try to tackle those if we have time. I also wanted to give you a brief update, what's going on in Alaska, COVID-wise. Like many parts of the country, we are seeing our numbers go up, but right now we are at 20,000 since the very beginning of the pandemic back in March, 20,000 total cases. And we are seeing a rise right now, but we have had a great success throughout the year of being responsive and being able to flatten the curve. And in case you were wondering, yes, we were open this summer. We were open for business. We reduced our capacities, our local tour operators. We're taking people on tour, out to see the glaciers. People were able to dine in restaurants because the restaurants moved out onto the street, and it made for a very festive summer throughout Alaska as people stepped up and pivoted to deliver the great Alaska products that folks want. So in short, we are being COVID conscious in Alaska. You might know that we required out-of-state visitors to test prior to arrival in Alaska this summer, and that was a very successful program. And we are hoping that with the new things that are coming out, the vaccines, that will not be required this summer, but we got very good at it this summer, and we can take good care and keep our travelers safe as well as our resident population. So now a little more about Anchorage. And I should mention that Scott and Casey and I want you all to know three things. If you don't take anything away from this, know this: we are open now, and we're going to be open in 2021. We're here to help you connect with Alaska businesses in whatever form that may be. And we know that this is, Alaska is the product that your clients are looking for in 2021. So here's a nice shot of Anchorage, Alaska's largest city, with the Chugach Mountains make up the entire eastern side of the city. We have 55 trails heads right around South Central Alaska, and we have about 60 glaciers right around Anchorage that can be reached from the city in a variety of ways. So this summer, what a lot of folks did was a base camp itinerary where they stayed in one of our full service hotels and had different adventures on different days, including getting out and biking and hiking our local trails, fishing down in Ship Creek or in nearby areas up in Matsu or down south on the Kenai Peninsula, and flying over to do bear viewing in Katmai National Park. So these were all very popular options. And if you're wondering how you can be up to speed and how to capture all these type of experiences and know what's available, we do have our travel trade planner available for you digitally online at anchorage.net travel trade. And or we can mail one out to you, and you can have all this detailed information about what all the different activities and things that your clients could do this summer out of South Central Alaska and traveling northward. We have a lot of local tour operators, and the great thing about local tour operators, they're here in Alaska and they're ready to roll. They're operating throughout the year now, even taking people out to have experiences this fall and winter. And of course, they were operating this summer. And so I like to call them COVID resilient products. Folks can get out and do fly drive itineraries where they can follow a set path, but get up in the morning when they want to, make the stops that they want to, and stay within their bubble, so to speak, and enjoy a fantastic, iconic Alaska experience. This is the Kenai Peninsula, just south of Anchorage, and you might know it because of the national parks, as well as the popular cruising ports of Seward and Whittier, which were open and operating this summer, taking people into Prince William Sound, out to see the glaciers and the wildlife, Kenai Fjords National Park, and there's a lot more to explore on the Kenai as well. So I mentioned those 55 trailheads. This is a great thing that people are wanting to experience, especially after this last summer and spring that we had, is getting out and experiencing nature and wildlife. This is what all of our Surveys are telling us about what travelers desire to have these iconic experiences, even feeding a moose like here at the Wildlife Conservation Center. And of course, it makes it nice when you can dine on seafood and locally caught fish and king crab and have distilled spirits, from the local market or our craft breweries throughout Alaska. You can have these great experiences. And you'll have a lot to talk about after flying over a glacier or maybe hiking on a glacier, or if your clients decide to kayak the face of the glacier, or if they come in the wintertime, we can kit them out with all of the gear to have a fat tire bike ride, enjoy Alaska Railroad experience, culture, shopping, Alaska Native culture, the Anchorage Museum and the Alaska Native Heritage Center, Smithsonian exhibit. So whether it's wildlife, breweries, or if you come up this winter, Anchorage has a lot to offer, as does the rest of the state. So we're here to help you. And I now would like to wrap up and invite you to experience some of what we call our neighbors to the north, the Matanuska-Susitna Valley, Casey Ressler. Hey, Casey.
Hey, thanks, David. I appreciate it, and thank you all for being here. We're excited to share Alaska with you and your clients. So we can go to the next slide. So I'm with the Mat-Su Convention and Visitors Bureau, and our challenge is our name, to be quite honest. Our individual towns are known better than the Mat-Su Valley as a collective term. So to kind of put it into perspective, we're just 45 minutes north of Anchorage, and we span all the way up to Denali National Park. It's an area of about 23,000 square miles. So to put that into perspective, our region is about the size of West Virginia. We have a lot of land, we don't have a lot of people, so it's a lot of wide open spaces. We're known for glaciers, mountains, and our Denali adventures. Some of the towns in the region include Wasilla and Palmer, Talkeetna, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, and then Glacier View. We'll go to the next slide. Wasilla and Palmer is really our core area. It's our population base. In this region, some of the top attractions include the Muskox Farm, which just recently completed a $1.4 million renovation, and it really is like a world-class facility. In Wasilla, you have the Iditarod headquarters. You can meet a musher, take a sled ride, meet the puppies. It's always a great experience there. The Wasilla Museum really outlines the historical part of our region. And then also in August, the Alaska State Fair takes place in Palmer. Palmer is the agricultural hub of Alaska, so there's a lot of farm-to-table experiences to be had. One operator, Alaska Farm Tours, visits 4 local farms, and then the tour ends with a lunch made entirely of the vegetables and produce that you saw at the farm itself. So next. So going up the Glen Highway, National Scenic Byway is kind of a path less traveled by a lot of group tour operators, but it's really a great opportunity. The drive is stunning and beautiful. And about an hour north of Palmer, you come to Matanuska Glacier in the community of Glacier View. They've really developed this destination for more active tourism. So you'll see a lot of guided treks on the glacier, rafting. This year, there's new helicopter tours, and there's a lot of roadhouses along the way that are well equipped to provide lunches and dinners as you make your way through the Mat-Su Valley, perhaps down to Valdez. Go next. But the town that probably everybody is most familiar with is Talkeetna. It's about 2 hours north of Anchorage along the rail belt. And what the town is really known for is its Denali experiences. That's where all the flight seeing companies leave when they fly around the Alaska Range and land on a glacier on Denali. And also jet boat adventures, rafting adventures, zip lining. The key hotel there is the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge, and that's located just a mile outside of town. You can tell on that picture, that is the entire town, by the way. So to say it's very walkable is a bit of an understatement, but it's some great food options. And like I said, any Denali experience you can imagine, and it is a stop on the Alaska Railroad, so it fits in well with the itineraries. The McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge is located about 35 miles north of town, but offers daily bus service on the hour to their guests to come and enjoy Talkeetna. Go next. We know that national parks are in big demand by a lot of your clients. Our state parks are really an underrated gem. There's a lot of state parks throughout the entire state, obviously, but in the Mat-Su Valley, Hatcher Pass, and Denali State Park really provide great historical and cultural experiences, as well as breathtaking scenery. And best of all, they're all very accessible, even by motor coach. Next. And this is Denali State Park. So everybody knows about the national park, but really the state park offers some of the most amazing views of the Alaska Range. And there's also guided kayaking, guided hiking, and those are for people of all abilities. You don't have to be, a master hiker or spend your whole life on the water. There's really opportunities for even novices to get out and enjoy the scenery, nature, and these experiences. Next. So you visit us in the summer, but we'd love to have you back in the winter. This is Hatcher Pass. In winter, we have world-class Nordic skiing. Starting next month, we're happy that Ski Talk is going to be opening, and that is our first ever triple chairlift downhill ski area. And during the winter, the Alaska Railroad offers weekly service, northbound and southbound. And later in the winter, they begin to offer midweek services as well. So come on out for the winter, stop in at Iditarod, see the race, see the Northern Lights. And speaking of the Northern Lights, I know that's what Fairbanks is very well known for, so we will go north. Scott?
Thank you, Casey, and hello, NTA. My name is Scott Gray. I'm the Director of Tourism and Convention Sales for Explore Fairbanks. We're the DMO representing close to 400 tourism partners here in interior Alaska. So thanks for taking the time to join us today as we now embark on a very rapid 5-minute journey through our destination. Next slide, please. So your journey through Alaska takes you from Talkeetna to Denali National Park. It's a distance of about 150 miles accessible by either the Parks Highway or the Alaska Railroad. Denali is definitely one of Alaska's most popular destinations, commonly used in most cross-Gulf Alaska cruise land tour packages, as well as many land-based only packages as well. Next slide. So Denali is primarily a summer destination, although we are starting to see some growth in the winter market of people going to Denali. Denali's home to the Mountain Denali, formerly known as Mount McKinley, the highest mountain in North America. Popular tourism activities during the summer months include taking the bus tours into the park to see those quintessential Alaskan critters, moose, grizzly bear, caribou, omai, doing whitewater rafting, taking a flight scene trip to land on a glacier, zip lining, jeep tours, and much more. Denali also has some of the most spectacular hotel properties in Alaska and a very robust culinary scene as well. Next slide. So from Denali, we continue on to my hometown here in Fairbanks, the Golden Heart of Alaska, another 120 miles. Fairbanks area has a population of close to about 100,000 people, which those of us who are here, we think is just about the right size. We have modern hotels, great restaurants, good shopping, museums, but then the beauty is that the great outdoors of Alaska is just literally 5 minutes away from city limits. Next slide. So as a year-round destination, I hope that's a big takeaway. The three of us want you to know as well that we are open year-round. In Fairbanks, we like to say we have 3 seasons instead of 4. This includes the midnight sun season, our summer months, the aurora season, and our winter season. Next slide. The midnight sun season is from April 22nd to August 20th, and it is so called the midnight sun because there is a 70-day period where there is just continual daylight, no darkness at all. Because of our location in interior Alaska, where the climate is very much like a desert, we also have some of the hottest temperatures in the state, where during the months of July, we can see temperatures as high as 80 degrees. Next slide. Fairbanks summers are host to a variety of different activities for people to explore, from taking a historic stern-wheeler trip on the Chena River to panning for gold, just like the gold miners of yesteryear, learning about our Alaska Native culture, and that opportunity to get outside, to go on hiking trails, to camp, to get out there and enjoy those type of experiences that we know people are looking for in this day and age. Next slide. So our aurora season is from August 21st through April 21st. So because of Fairbanks's inland location, about 500 miles away from the coast, as well as our location under what is known as the Aurora Oval, we're one of the best places in the world to come and see the Northern Lights. So there's a pretty long season there, August 21st to April 21st. People are always wondering what is the best time during that time to come and see the Northern Lights. And really it has to do with what does someone want to experience during the day. Those late summer months, come see the Northern Lights, enjoy summer activities, or for those who want to come in the winter time. Next slide. That's a great time as well. We have winter here already. I've shoveled snow in my driveway 3 times. I need to go out and do it another time tomorrow. So winter, as we've been saying, is a great time to come. It's one of our fastest growing seasons here in interior Alaska, driven by coming to see the Northern Lights, but people want to enjoy those traditional winter Alaskan activities from dog mushing, ice fishing, going out to hot springs, or seeing ice sculptures. Next slide. So north of Fairbanks is the Arctic, and that's becoming more and more of a popular destination. So Fairbanks is a great jumping off point to go and explore the Arctic, either by driving, taking a tour up the Dalton Highway. Next slide. Where you have the opportunity to cross the Arctic Circle and get a photo for everyone to admire and envy. And again, trips to the Arctic are a year-round time as well. Lots of people make that trip in the winter time. There's a view by the air. So you talk about your ultimate social distancing destination. You get up to the Arctic, not only can you be 6 feet away from the nearest person, you can easily be 60 miles away from the closest person. Next slide. Like I said, whirlwind tour of interior Alaska. Thanks for taking the time today. We do want to stop a little bit now so we have an opportunity to answer any question that you might have.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We've hit our 20-minute mark, so we look forward to chatting with all of you and our appointments, and we look forward to having you in Alaska sooner than later, but certainly by time contact takes place. And I guess we'll say thank you, and we'll send you on to your next appointment.